Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Vish from the Six Rings Canes Show. Gonna do another midweek hit here, talk Canes hoops. They open ACC tournament play tomorrow. Talk a little bit about Canes baseball and the women's hoops as well. So stick around. We'll get right to it.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings King Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of the Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring game show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vish, and DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the six-ring champs. There's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Cane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. I'm recording this as the Canes baseball team is currently being no-hit by Jacksonville in the fifth inning. By the time this goes out, you'll know what happened there. Let's hope for a little rally. Down 2-0. Actually, the fifth just ended. So down 2-0, no hit through five. Not great coming off this weekend's performance, but we're going to start off on a positive foot. Canes men's hoops did a quick hit after the game on Saturday. Celebrated the win a little bit. We talked a little bit on Monday's show, but we'll do a little bit more of that because how you can't over celebrate a championship. And so the Canes obviously won the ACC regular season title. There will be a banner up in the Watsco Center, and earned the 1 seed in the ACC tournament, which has been going on for 2 days now. The Canes have not played yet. As the 1 seed, they get a double bye. They open play tomorrow at noon, and we know the opponent is Wake Forest. Wake Forest won on a buzzer beater against Syracuse today. Well, technically it was 0.5 seconds left on the clock as the ball went through, so it wasn't technically a buzzer beater. After which, Jim Boeheim up and retired. He'd had enough. The man who famously accused Miami of buying this team that won the ACC championship is no longer a college basketball coach. He'll obviously go into the College Basketball Hall of Fame and all of that. Will not get those wins back that he got stripped for cheating. Should probably call that out since he's got opinions. But that career ended. One stop before the Canes can maybe get a little on-court retribution for his off-court comments. So Miami, Wake Forest tomorrow, noon. When the two teams played in Miami, it was a high-scoring game, as you know, a lot of Canes games are. It's an offensive team. And the Canes did win at home. This is obviously a neutral site. Greensboro is right near Winston-Salem, which is Wake Forest's campus. So this will be functionally a road game, but Canes should be favored. Opportunity to improve their NCAA tournament bidding. If you look at where they're seated, it's really on that 4-5 line right now. Not really a lot of opportunity for that to change. Even with the loss, it's probably the 4-5 line. It'll probably maybe cement the 5 spot. And then if they were to go ahead and win the whole tournament, probably not enough to get them up to a 3. Now, there is a difference between a 4 and 5 spot, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is the 4 seed does get a much easier opponent in the first round. The 13 seeds and the 12 seeds are not created equal. So you would like to get up to that 4 spot. I would say if Miami wins the ACC tournament, it'd be hard for them not to be a 4 seed. And, you know, journey is its own reward there too. Winning the ACC tournament would be a big accomplishment. But the Canes open that tournament play tomorrow against Wake Forest at noon. It'll be Wake Forest's second game of the tournament, the Canes first. So good things happening on campus there. And big news on earlier this week that came out, which is Isaiah Wong, ACC Player of the Year. The first Cane to get that since Shane Larkin was co-player of the year. Unbelievable accomplishment for someone who's, he's become almost taken for granted because he's been so good for so long in Miami. I mean, there were some bad teams he played on where like, well, Wong is good. The rest of the team isn't, but Wong is good. It's just so great to see that kid who stuck out here, played through some really bad basketball teams. And I know there was the stuff in the offseason with him, technically, for maybe 30 seconds, his agent said he was looking around, looking to play somewhere else, whatever. But he certainly, even well before that, when there were really bad Miami teams, had opportunities to go elsewhere and, was a coveted piece for a lot of schools and stuck around and rewarded last year with an Elite Eight, this year with an ACC championship and ACC Player of the Year. Congrats to him. He's a great kid, humble kid, works his butt off. Came in really talented and has gotten so much better. I think I can speak for us all. We're all really proud of him. Unbelievable accomplishment. Very cool. Very cool to see his name up in lights like that. And very well deserved for just a great kid who's really worked hard to get to where he is as the leading the line of the best team in the ACC, which is what the Canes are. Just awesome accomplishment. The other thing there, though, is, it's an ensemble team here that they've built. So it wasn't just Isaiah Wong who was honored. He obviously also made first team All ACC. It would be hard for the ACC Player of the Year not to. But Jordan Miller made second team All ACC, and Norchad Amir made third team All ACC. All well deserved, and you can kind of see, this is a team that wins as a team. You saw like the way that won the ACC by Wooga Poplar, having his best game of the year, and that's just the way this team is built. So we're excited. ACC tournament certainly on the table to win that, and then certainly a run in March is not out of the question. How crazy things happen in that tournament, but this does feel like a team built to, with the depth, with the multiple ways to win games, to really do some damage in the NCAA and in the ACC tournament. So kudos to them. Big week coming up, and then hopefully several weeks and a big March for this program, which feels poised to do something really special over the next month. So big things happening there. For the women, when we spoke last, they had not yet played an ACC tournament game. They did beat Boston College, which was absolutely critical, and then got blown out by Virginia Tech, who blew everyone out and won the ACC tournament. And they're probably going to be a 1 seed in the bracket that's revealed on Sunday. So the Canes women should still be in the field. The latest ESPN projection has them as a play-in game, which seems harsh. There was a couple of bids stolen. They slid down a little bit. It doesn't look like there's any way that they would get enough stolen where they'd slide out. There's not that much women's basketball going on anymore because most of it was last week. The other thing is, I would say that's the worst I've seen. There aren't nearly as many women's projections as there are men's. So people just kind of go look at the ESPN one and say, oh, there's a projection. But if you look at CBS, they're a 9 seed, and there's maybe 10 teams between them and falling out of the tournament. ESPN has 3 teams between them and falling out of the tournament. So, you're getting that range in there. I've yet to see a projection that does not have them in. And frankly, the ACC is the strongest women's conference. Finishing 6th in that, not really taking a bad loss in the ACC tournament would be hard for anyone to really, come out and say, well, they shouldn't be in. There's not really. It's a very strong resume. So I think they'll be fine. They should be in the field, and we'll see where they get sent. They can beat some teams, as they've shown this year. They beat Virginia Tech earlier in the year, beat North Carolina, and played a lot of close, tough games as well. They played very close against Notre Dame, lost at the end there. And Notre Dame's another kind of, I think probably will end up as a 2 seed, but it's another really top team. So this has been a good team this year, and they can maybe do some damage there. But it is, it's not inconceivable they get screwed by the committee, but it would be really screwed. I haven't seen a single projection that doesn't have them in. It feels like the worst case is play-in game, and that feels like a stretch. Although that's what ESPN's projecting right now. That does feel low based on overall if you kind of look for brackets. But you have to kind of hunt for them because there's not a lot of Not a lot of women's bracketology going on, unfortunately. Maybe one day that'll change. We can get, the 30 brackets out there like you get for the men's. But still, a good season for the women. A lot of turmoil there, but looks like they're going to go dancing 2 years in a row. And, with the way that these programs have elevated now, this is becoming an expectation. Like having the men and women in the tournament multiple years in a row. The men made a deep run last year, and they look poised to do some damage this year. The women getting in there. This is becoming the new normal, which is really cool because, there were dry spells for both programs when they weren't making the tournament every year. And now they're starting to do that. And I mean, obviously the women's still not 100% guaranteed, but looks highly likely. And the men are definitely going to make it. That's a major accomplishment. So, and one of the things, we tend to adopt the football culture of, especially as an independent, because Miami was an independent when they were in their glory days in football. We adopt that mindset of the only thing that matters is winning the national championship. And, for these basketball programs, like I have those aspirations too. I'm not going to lie. Like one day I would love to see either, hopefully both of these programs, at the Final Four, cutting the nets down, winning the championship. But, we should stop and smell the roses a little bit. And when those names get called on Sunday, it's going to be cool. You're going to see Miami up in lights as one of the best, a team that can compete for the championship. Now, are either of them going to win it? The men certainly have a significantly better chance than the women, but, chances are probably not, although we'll have to see the men's bracket because I wouldn't rule that out. But, these accomplishments they're doing along the way. The men won the ACC. That's something that when they joined the ACC, we didn't. Everything was focused on football, and the move was made for football. That they're able to do this is just astonishing. And this is the second time that this has happened. And that you legitimately have to say, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, Miami's better than those teams. I mean, that's crazy, and we shouldn't. I'm focused too on the postseason. I want to see this team make a big run here. I think they have every opportunity to, frankly, they could win the championship considerably. Certainly, they made the Elite Eight last year. Even matching, that's a huge accomplishment. But we should stop and smell the roses a little bit. And I think ACC Player of the Year, Isaiah Wong, winning the ACC regular season, like those are cool things that, whatever happens from here, you don't take those away. And that's just something that we should all be, really proud and happy about and celebrate those victories. And for the women, if they get into this tournament again, they play in the toughest conference by far in women's basketball. There's no easy games there. So for them to kind of come through that mess and get into the tournament multiple years in a row, another big accomplishment. We should, when those names get called, we'll obviously immediately go into, can they make a run, start doing our brackets and all that. But, take a second and pause there and just, applaud the effort these kids are putting in to drive this program forward. These are two programs, and obviously the men have a higher ceiling right now and to have better prospects. These are two programs that are kind of coming into their own, and it could be several years of, competitive, getting into the tournament, getting past a couple of rounds, doing that kind of stuff, not just this year, but on the horizon. So it's a really exciting time to be involved with either or hopefully both if you're a fan of both programs, because there's a lot of really cool stuff happening there. And that is where we're going to pivot to a bit of a downer, which is our baseball program. So over last week, lost the midweek to FAU. When I recorded, they were playing that night, so we're going to talk about that. And then lost 2 or 3 to Florida. Made a big comeback on Saturday to win that game 14-6 and really dominate Florida in that game. And then Sunday it went the other way. Got mercy ruled in the 8th. Got some injuries. It was a bad time. And now just doing a quick check. The last time I checked, they were losing to Jacksonville. They are still losing to Jacksonville. There are 2 outs with 2 on in the top of the 6th. The Canes do not have a hit yet. They're being out hit 7-0. They have 2 errors. They're lucky it's only 2-0. And this is, and actually they just got out of the 6th, so it's now going to the bottom of the 6th, still 2-0. This is not good, and the 2 or 3 of Florida, like losing 2 or 3 is actually not a big deal. They're a top 5 team. That's one if you recover yourself. That don't even keep you out of hosting a regional and super regional. You could be a national seed and lose that series. That's fine. But I think the way the play has gone, the FAU too, midweek road game, that's not an easy one. Again, you can excuse some of that, but overall, there's definitely I would say, an over-reliance on home runs right now that needs to be resolved. Doesn't seem like a team able to rally and string stuff together. It is really like home run goes, then the runs go. If they can't hit home runs, they struggle to score, struggle to string stuff together. That is problematic. And whatever happens with the Jacksonville game, it's ongoing. Not looking great right now. They have 12 outs to try and scratch some runs across, or at least get some hits, so they don't get no hit. But this weekend, huge series. North Carolina State comes to town. North Carolina State is undefeated. They have been killing people. Now, they haven't played anyone good, so kind of the opposite of the Canes, who one of the things that happens when you're in Florida is there's just a lot of really good baseball played across the state. So your midweek games, you're playing Jacksonville, you're playing Stetson, you're playing FAU, FIU, Florida Gulf Coast. These are UCF. Those are who you end up with on the midweek. Those are good programs. USF has beaten Florida and Florida State this year. So you end up with, playing these good teams, and you can drop midweek games because, these teams have players too. Everyone plays baseball in Florida. There's a lot of really good talent across the state on the smaller programs too that you tend to play in the midweek. So you get challenged a lot more. And that's why sometimes you have worse records because, again, you're playing. But that for example, that FAU loss won't look bad. This Jacksonville loss will if the Canes manage to not score. Then it'll look really bad. But that can happen when you play ball in Florida because there's just a lot of good teams. The problem is the problem they have right now is the NC State coming in here. NC State has not been tested. They haven't played a big program. Their midweeks have been pretty soft. They haven't been tested, but they also haven't been challenged. What I mean by that is they've had a couple of sort of close games. They've been killing people. Their numbers pop at you from on the mound at the plate as well. We're gonna find out this week if that was competition, they just didn't play anyone, or if this is gonna be a big problem for the Canes. And it could be a big problem. So after losing the series last week, you do not want to start off by dropping a home ACC series. You got to win your home series. And North Carolina State's going to come in with a ton of confidence, going to come in here, ready to go. And they've played really well so far. So the question is, can the Canes rise up and meet that challenge? At home, you'd like to think they'd be able to win that series. If they can't, this could go. And that's why I'm saying it's not good right now. They got to recover this Jacksonville game. They got to turn around and then win this weekend series is much more important than the Jacksonville game going right now. Win the weekend series, start the ACC off on the right foot because if they drop 2 weekend series in a row, I know Florida is a top 5 team. You drop 2 of those in a row, one at home, one in conference. That is going to set yourself up for a long season. Even, I think it'd be pretty shocking if this Canes team did not at least make the postseason, but you really want to host regionals, super regionals, and playing your way out of that possibility in mid-March, that is not good. And that is kind of where this is headed if they're not able to recover not just this game, but the series on the weekend is a big one. And it's not an easy way to start hosting a really good team that is playing at a high level. And I think when you start looking through that, then next week Virginia Tech, who is another strong team, comes to town. Then at Wake Forest, who's a top 5 team, this could go big time and go big time quickly. So they have got to get it going. We'll see how this Jacksonville game ends. We'll see how this weekend goes. But we're sitting here talking here next week about a series loss to North Carolina State, Virginia Tech coming into town, going to Wake Forest week after that. That is where we do not want to be. So it's a lot. It's a lot right at the beginning of the season, but this is a tough start to the season. And that's why, the result against Florida Going 1-2. Not great, but you lose 2 out of 3 on the road to top 5, that's fine. But I would say the way, in particular, Sunday happened, just a complete domination to get mercy ruled, and then now turning around struggling against Jacksonville. We're not peaking, and we always say we want to peak at the right time, and this is a program that's definitely peaked early at times, but there's not going to be an opportunity to peak if they don't get some wins here. So huge series at the Light this weekend. So kind of to recap what's coming up in the next few days, tomorrow at noon, we got Canes, Wake Forest, quarterfinal of the ACC tournament. If the Canes win that, they will play 7 p.m. on Friday night, and if they win that, the final I believe is 8:30. I want to say 8 or 8:30 on Saturday night. So that will be the Canes' path. They always have to keep winning to get to the next round. For baseball, slight tweak to the schedule from normal. Usually the Canes, everyone that heads out to the Light kind of knows this. 7 o'clock Friday, 7 o'clock Saturday, 1 p.m. Sunday. The slight change is a 6 p.m. start on Saturday. So we're heading out to the Light. Don't show up at 7. You're going to miss the first third of the game. So those are, I would say the stakes are probably a little bit higher for Canes baseball this weekend than the Hoops, because the Hoops kind of set their mark here. Obviously, winning the ACC tournament will be a huge accomplishment, and it'll be celebratory. But and we definitely want to do that. And I'm not going to promise another impromptu live stream, but I won't not promise it either. We'll see how that unfolds. We got to get all the way to the final first, and then maybe I'll do something there. But Canes baseball has got to win these games. They got to, frankly, get something going against Jacksonville here, and they've got to win this weekend series. They can win this weekend series, and all of a sudden you have an ACC series win. You have a little bit more confidence going into this Virginia Tech game if you can somehow win that series. Then you got at Wake Forest. That's an opportunity to really bolster your resume. So all of a sudden they can turn this around. But if you start stringing series losses together, I hate to think about potentially not making the postseason, but a lot of losses would do that. I don't think we're near there yet. I think right now, it's early. It's very early, but you got to win some of these ACC home series. And this one this weekend is an opportunity to do that, or an opportunity to have it blow up in their face. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what's coming up. Just a couple of other things. Sunday selection show. The men is earlier. The women's is right after it. Men's is on CBS. The women's will be on ESPN. So that'll occupy Sunday night. And we'll see if we do a little bit of quick react to the brackets. Maybe I'll record something Sunday night. We'll kind of have a little chat about that too. See if I can get like Jazz, DJ, Blue, some of them onto the show as well. If I do something impromptu. But otherwise, we will catch up Monday, 8:30, same time as usual. And as always, like, subscribe to the channel. And I think this will go out before, but don't miss our F1 show. It's back for another season, 8 p.m. Wednesdays. So this should go out probably just before that. But check that out on this channel as well if you're a Formula One fan. And we'll talk again. Maybe we'll do a victory thing on Saturday. Definitely talk next Monday at 8:30.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.